this is the
Hold on, sorry.
Yeah, Gershi, it's either that or they get bike racks.
Okay, what are we up to here?
That was a great line for the beginning of the recording. Completely out of context. He said it was a great line to start the recording on, completely out of context. Just the sentence. Either that or they get bike racks.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, where are we up to? We're on Chesam and Aleph, right?
Yeah.
Name Havi Tanoi. It's also a quick daf tonight.
I wanted to ask you last night, you're running into the VAR. Is there a rule somewhere about when the Gemara would say Lema Katanoi, asking on Amiroim how they could have the same machlokes as Tanoim?
I wish I knew of a rule. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to last night.
Right.
I wish there was a rule, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's a rule to this.
I mean, it's really strange. My Rebbe in first year base medrash, and when he came across the first Lema Ketano, he told us the reason is because Amiroim can't argue with Tanoim, and B, if a Tana said it, then he should be quoting the Tana, not saying it from himself. It's like a chutzpah for an Amir to say the same thing as a Tana.
Okay, so therefore what? So
that should be a kasha here. If it's the same machlokes, if there's no other way of explaining the machlokes tanoim, then it should be lemek tanoi. Sometimes the Gemara answers because the tanoim didn't say it straight out, and there's potentially another way out of that machlokes. So it's not exactly a machlokes tanoim. But here, that seems to be the only way out of that machlokes tanoim.
Right, I hear. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like from yesterday's Gemara, it seems like from yesterday's Gemara that Rav Shimon, I think it was Rav Shimon, doesn't really hold that the tzitz was maybe one of the begadim of the kohen gadol. That really was just one of the kalim, because it just has to exist. It doesn't have to be worn, right?
Right.
So why then? How does if Rav Shimon says that if Rav Shimon says that it works just by existing and hanging on a peg, right? Then why does it have to be one of the begadim of the kohen gadol? I guess that would be my question. According to Rav Shimon.
I mean, why not just leave it there?
Yeah, it's called one of the kalim.
Baron, what you were asking yesterday, or you were saying on the backup one, right? You were asking about the backup one. Yeah.
I'm saying in general, you're saying it works without.
And isn't that what he's saying?
It's not a beged anymore. But the Torah specifically says it's one of the begadim.
No, it is a beged. He's supposed to wear it, but Lamaisa,
he doesn't have to.
It works even if you.
So then why call it a beged? Just call it a kli that he could sometimes put on, sometimes not. You know what I'm saying? He can carry it on his shoulder if he wants. You know, what's the difference?
So why are you calling it shmoyne begodim? Make it 7 plus 1 hanging.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
I'm saying so, but since they refer to it as shmoyne begodim, so obviously you got to wear it. The exception is when it's hanging.
But then what's the havamina then to begin with? Because if it's a beged, it doesn't actually have to be worn to work.
The chiddush is even when it's hanging, it's okay, but not that it should be hanging.
Yuri, once you have the color, once you zeicha for the gang colors, you're a Hell's Angel. So if you don't wear your Hell's Angel jacket, you're still a Hell's Angel. Lou.
Very good, very good, very good. Very good.
I can't say I would have thought of it.
No, but what you're saying is that even if you're colorblind and wearing the wrong color, you're still part of it.
Look, the Gemara is saying when he goes to the bathroom, he's not wearing it. When he's doing this, he's not wearing it. So what does that mean? It can't be all the time.
You
Really,
muted
it should be all the time.
Uri,
but
you
it-
muted.
Of course, you
I'm
can't wear
muted.
it in those situations. No, I was. Of course, you can't use it.
No, not
can't
you.
be
No,
wearing
Uri
it in
was
those
muted. Uri was
situations.
muted. You're not muted. You're
I
good.
understand that it's not all the time because there's certain times that obviously it's not whatever. It's not the time
It's
to
not-
wear it. Okay,
yeah.
he goes to the bathroom. He's not going to wear it. But that's very different than saying that it's hanging on a peg, and he forgets to put it on. It still works. It's
Not that
very
he
different.
forgets to put it
Why?
on.
When do you think it was hanging on a peg? When he went to the
Yeah, when
bathroom.
he's going to the bathroom.
Can we say lechatchila he should
Yeah.
wear it, but if he wasn't wearing it, it still works?
It's a mitzvah chiyuv isteraisa. He has to wear it.
That's right.
But Gershon, he doesn't wear it 24/7. He sleeps also.
He wears it when he's doing the avodah. That's
When
Rav
he's,
Shimon.
when
When
he's
he's
going,
not
when
doing
he,
the
yeah.
avodah,
But it's,
Avadi
He
doesn't wear it.
He doesn't
But
wear
even-
he doesn't wear tefillin when he's sleeping either.
but it still works. But there's no mitzvah tefillin if you're not wearing it. Okay, but the tzitz still works when he's
The
not wearing
mitzvah
it.
of wearing shmeina begadim is lechayin. When he's doing the avodah, he has to wear shmeina begadim. When he's not
Right.
personally doing the avodah, he doesn't wear the shmeina begadim. That the machlokes of Shimon and Yehuda is whether when he's not personally doing the avodah, the tzitz is still meratze. Each of the shmeina begadim is mechaper for something else. That's not why he wears them. He wears them because the Torah says that Kadosh Baruch Hu told him the kohen gadol has to wear shmeina begadim.
I hear that.
Kadosh Baruch Hu also says that each of the shmeina begadim are mechaper for something, for meratze.
So how come it's only the tzitz that if he's not wearing it, it still is mechaper, but if he's not wearing his gaskets, it's okay.
I don't know that it is. I'm not so sure. It could be with other begadim also. They do their job without him wearing it.
Right.
Gemara doesn't say that.
We're discussing the tzitz. There's a special ritzui of the tzitz. It's not a kapara. It's a ritzui. The other begadim are mechaper for things.
I hear what Gershon's saying. I hear, meaning he's got to wear it, having nothing to do with it. Nothing to do. Meaning, do I have to wear my hat if I'm not davening well? I don't know. Is that a muscle? No, not a good muscle. I don't know.
No, because if the kohen gadol were a yarmulke, he would passel all his avodas.
Okay.
Baron, you have to answer that one.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see.
You have
Let's
to
see.
answer.
So let's see. Name of Hani Tanoi Kahani Tanoi. We're around 10 lines down. Chesam at Aleph. So let's see. These Tanoim are like these Tanoim. So now we're going to have an additional machlokes Tanoim. The Tanya Echad Zeh Echad Zeh Mazam Lov Kol Shiva. Mikol Chatois Shahayu Sham. Divrei Meir. So we're going to have 3 machlokes here, meaning whether it's the how do you call it? The kohen gadol b'erev Yom Kippur, right? Or the kohen that's going to burn the Parah aduma to get the ashes. So you sprinkle on them the mechatas all 7 days, right? From all the mechatas that was there. Divrei Meir. Rabbi Yossi Omer, ein mazon alav ela shlishi v'shvi b'vad. No, you only sprinkle on them the 3rd and the 7th day, just like you do for somebody who's tamei meis. Right? Rabbi Chanina sgan hakohanim Omer. Kohen serve as a parah mazon alav kol shiva. The kohen he differentiates. He says the kohen who's burning the parah aduma, you put onto him all 7 days. Kohen gadol b'yom kippurim ein mazon alav ela shlishi v'shviva. The kohen gadol you only do 3rd and 7th. So again, Rameir holds you do on both of them all 7 days. Rabbi Yossi says you only do 3rd and 7th. And Rabbi Chanina sgan hakohanim splits it. He's somewhere in the middle. He says the kohen that's burning the parah is all 7. The kohen gadol for Yom Kippur only gets on the 3rd and the 7th. So my lab hakohanim. So what's this machlokes have? What is it dependent on? So Rameir savar tumah dechuya b'tzibur. So Rameir holds its tumah is dechuya. It's pushed off, right? So since it's pushed off. So we don't know which days he would have been tummy, which days he wouldn't have been tummy. So Memela, he needs 7. We're going to sprinkle him on all 7 days, right? And the kohen that's burning parah aduma too. Meaning we have to try our utmost to make sure that these guys are not tummy. So therefore we're going to do all 7 days. We'll see on Amud Beis exactly what does it help to do all 7 days. Why would you have to do all 7 days? Rabbi Yossi says the tumah is beheter, so therefore you just do in 3 and 7. So the Gemara is going to ask, right, for Tizbara, if Rabbi Yossi holds that it's hutra, and there's nothing wrong if the kohen gadol becomes tameh, so why are you even doing 3 and 7? Why do you need to sprinkle him at all? Again, we're sprinkling him either all 7 days, or on the 3rd and 7th day, because we think that we're afraid that he's tameh meis. But if you say tumah is hutra, so why are you even doing the 3rd and the 7th? So then that shot doesn't work. No, it must be everybody holds it's tchuya. So therefore you have to do whatever you can to try and get this kohen tahara. Okay, so then why does he say no? I'm not. So what's the machlokes? Rameir holds that tefillah in the proper time is a mitzvah. So Rameir holds tefillah b'zman as mitzvah. That meaning whenever the time comes that you have to go to mikvah, you have to go to mikvah, right? And then when we learn out hazah from tefillah is a hekesh hazah from tefillah. So if you hold tefillah b'zman as mitzvah, so then hazah is also a mitzvah. So therefore you have to do it on all 7 days.
When would he do tevila for this suffix?
No, there's no not when the kohen gadol is hazah.
There's no Indian of tevila for tumah.
No, we're learning out hazah from. Yeah, he'll have to do the. No, he's going to.
Saying if somebody's tummy, is he required to do tevila after the hazah?
Yeah.
So then, why isn't he doing tefillah every single day if we're misoping on him?
No, so
if we're being machmer on him. We're being machmer on him. Why are we not machmer on him for the tefillah?
Because I think the tefillah you have to do it once at the end. Why should you? What's not going to gain?
Because every day it's bismani.
Every day it's a bismani. Has to be the hazah has to be on the 3rd and 7th days.
Every day is a suffix, whether it's the 3rd or 7th day.
Correct. So
why aren't we requiring, according to Rameir?
Because he's not doing anything. Because he's not doing anything anyways. The tahara for those 7 days. So what's the point?
Shouldn't it be bismana? And we're misupik what day is bismana? Shouldn't it be bismana?
If
what's the point of going through the entire ritual? You're right. So if we say tefillah is bismana, what's the point of doing hazah if it's not coupled with tefillah?
Right. I hear what you're asking. I don't know. Maybe you don't need. I thought that the tummy mace still needs tefillah right at the end. As far as I remember, maybe.
But every day, according to Rameir, we're assuming.
And hakohanim. You're right. That's what we had at the end of Nida. I don't know if the island was doing the daf then. At the end of Nida, there was cases where a Nida can be tevila 80 days in a row. Right?
So I'm asking if we're going a zayt by.
So you're right. So I hear what you're saying. I hear. I don't know.
I just don't understand this entire sugya. What does that mean? We're going as tuma, tchuya, hutra. Why would you assume a person is tameh? What would be the reason to assume they're tameh? What does that have to do with tchuya or hutra? Why would you assume they're tameh at all?
No, here we were talking. We got involved in this whole sugya. Is that why doesn't he have to stay away from other people? Right.
Correct. But here they're
saying the reason why he doesn't have to stay away from other people is because in case he becomes tameh, we're going to be makter the tumah anyway. So there's no reason to keep him away. That's all. Then that's how we got into hutra tchuya. So then we're just assuming that the possibility that he became tameh, but in a chanami, he's not. Well, there's no chashash be'etzem that he's tameh, but that's the Gemara is just going through the what ifs. Yeah, that's what I think. But anyway, so Rameir savar amrina tevila b'zman mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi savar lo amrina tevila b'zman mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi holds we don't say tevila b'zman as mitzvah, so therefore you don't have to sprinkle him every day. So then the question is going to be, okay, if that's and then why are you doing on the third and the 7th? Okay, we'll get to that at the bottom of the Amud. Right. So again, the mashal, not the mashal, but the practical application of whether tefillah b'zman is mitzvah is that nowadays we paskin tefillah b'zman is not a mitzvah. That's why single girls don't have to go to the mikvah. Right? Because since we paskin tefillah b'zman is not a mitzvah, so even though there's a tumah there, you don't deal that type of tumah, then they don't have to go to the mikvah. Same thing that as a fallout from this is when a woman needs to go to the mikvah, if for whatever reason she can't, so then then it could be pushed off. But if we held tefillah is not a mitzvah, the woman would be going to the mikvah on Tisha B'Av, and women would be going to the mikvah on Yom Kippur, right? Because tefillah b'zman is mitzvah. If it's a mitzvah, it's daicha the Isser Rechitza of Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, right? Okay. Yeah.
She doesn't have the Tomei problem now. She's just being told to be mata, to be with her husband.
Right.
It's not Tumah.
Yeah, so then why would?
Right, but if it's we learned it out that Lamaisa she's going to be tar, right?
Okay.
Lamaisa she's going to be tar, so the tefillah b'zmana is a mitzvah, right? Even though be'etzim for tum and tahara it's meaningless. That's only because we're all tummy.
But only because we don't have tum and tahara that's why a single girl, because she doesn't have a husband. You're saying.
Correct. No, but if you held tefillah b'zmana as mitzvah, even though we're all tummy anyways, she would have single girls with pashtas single girls would have to go to the mikvah. Right, but it wouldn't be negate anything, so they don't go. Right, that's what it is.
Why do we paskin that men are allowed to go to mikvah on Shabbos then?
Oh, now you're asking a loaded question, Simon. That's
the guy who used to.
Simon, what you mean we? As Tanto said to the Lone Ranger. What you mean we paskin?
Very good. The Bekashas.
Says the guy who used to.
The Hasidim. He's talking about us Hasidim.
Talking about the Hasidim.
What was the question?
The Mishnah Brura pretty much.
You're allowed to swim on Shabbos.
Sel says a Floridian.
He goes to his pool. They're makbid on dipping at least.
No, we just shut the filter off. It's fine.
Very good. Right? You shut the filter. You could talk Lashon Hara also. No.
I don't talk Lashon Hara, but my neighbor does.
The filter on your mouth goes off with the filter in the pool. But anyway,
forget about znush. Okay.
No, but the Simon, the Mishnah Brura pretty much says that you should not tovel, and men should not tovel in the mikvah on Shabbos. Stam Teseves Kedush says not to. To must carry this and that. That's whatever. But that's now
do I have to see everyone who goes to mikvah on Shabbos as a balkari?
Could be.
If that turns you on, Simon, yeah.
What is going on here tonight?
The Olam had their Wheaties today, but anyway.
But I'm saying, like, we're so worried about covet of everyone else. The Mishnah Brura by like Sefer Torah talks about covet of kohen, covet of this, covet of that, and all of a sudden the only way that the Mishnah Brura says you can go to the mikvah on Shabbos, a man, is if he's a balkari.
Right.
Like what? I don't understand.
Okay, because there's nothing embarrassing about it. That's why it's only in our kakamemi society that there's anything embarrassing about it. But it's a choshev azach, and if what's a big deal if somebody we do it out tznius. But if somebody has to know, somebody has to know. Same thing if a woman has to go to the mikvah. The only way to get somebody is to get a babysitter, and you have to tell, or you go to the parents or in-laws, and the parents are going to know. So what? They go. It's part of a. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, but it's a part of life. That's not called a pritzis. It's not called a pritzis. It's only a pritzis if it's done in a pritzistic way. That's what the poskim say. But it's a good question. Anyways, so talking about mikvah, so that's the next Gemara. So for Rabbi Yossi, tefillah b'zman mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi holds that we don't say tefillah b'zman mitzvah because we were saying Rabbi Yossi holds that there's no mitzvah to go to the mikvah at the proper time. Vatanya, and this we had in Shabbos. Vatanya Reisha Yashem Kosav al Basaro. Somebody has Hashem's name written on his skin. He's not allowed to take a shower, and he can't put anything on his body. Because if he takes a shower or he takes a bath, he's going to end up erasing Hashem's name. Right? And he's not allowed to go any place dirty because it's a design to Hashem's name. What happens if this damla like tefillah shel mitzvah? What happens if he has to have a tefillah's mitzvah? So now what? So kairechalav gemi v'toivel. So Tanakama says that he wraps some gemi, some we call gemi nowadays plastic, but it means some sort of grass type thing, and so that will protect Hashem's name, and he's toivel with it.
What about now when Israelis are getting tattoos of psukim and all sorts of stuff, and let's say they do Shem Hashem?
It's a problem. And also
are they allowed to get rid of it?
It's not simple. I don't remember what we come out with, but it's not
a bigger
simple at
problem.
all.
It's a bigger problem that they're getting it versus getting the pasuk, right? I mean,
That-
Yeah, but
that's
once they
true.
already have it, are they allowed to get rid of it?
Yeah, it's a problem. It's I don't remember what we come out with, but yeah, so it's an issue. But Rabbi Yossi has a different shot. He says Yair v'toivel kedarka. He goes into the mikveh kedarka, but he just can't scrub it. Yeah. Now, why can't he scrub it? Why is he not worried about it? So the thing is, because it's what we call a davar she'eino mischaven, right? Getting back to Shabbos, right? If you do something unintentional, you're not going into the bath because you want to erase Hashem's name. You're going into the bath because you want to take a bath or go to the mikveh. If it happens to be that Hashem's name gets erased, that's unintentional. Okay, so v'kaim alon. The tevila b'zman mitzvah community, they're having a machlokes about tevila b'zman mitzvah. The Tanakama savar lo yamrin tevila b'zman mitzvah. The Tanakama says that there's no tevila b'zman that's a mitzvah, right? Meaning, since he's not mechuyev to be toivel that day, so then we could tell him to go find yourself. Don't be toivel until you find yourself something to cover over Hashem's name. Since there's no mitzvah, so what's the rush? If he doesn't get it, if he doesn't find something to cover Hashem's name, so he won't go to the mikveh that day. Right, but Rabbi Yossi, who says that he just goes to the mikveh, savar amrina tefila b'zmana mitzvah. He says that tefila b'zmana is a mitzvah. Therefore, you can't go tell him he has to cover it over in order to go to the mikveh. What happens if he doesn't find one? Then he's not going to go to the mikveh. The mitzvah is daicha, the erasing Hashem's name. But again, it wouldn't be daicha. It's not. We're not saying like essay daicha loisa say that the mitzvah of going to the mikveh is daicha, the erasing Hashem's name. No, he's unintentionally erasing Hashem's name. So therefore, that would work.
Yeah. I just remembered another case that happens. It's not modern Israeli, whatever. Seifrim, it can happen quite easily too. If you're writing a Sefer Torah, and you're writing a new Amud, and there's a shame on the previous Amud, and you put your arm down, you can get the Shem Hashem and other words on your right arm as a bleed off from the, as a bleed, like if I don't know if you can see, I don't know, like if I've already written this Amud and I'm writing this Amud now, how do I write like this? So my right arm is on this Amud.
Correct.
A cipher won't do that. They know that trick already.
I said a beginning cipher, but thank you.
Yeah.
I am a cipher.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice. I like that.
So what are you saying? So I don't know what are you saying?
Okay.
I'm just it's a serious problem that can happen. It's not such a strange thing. I've seen it happen to people.
If they put their arm on it, it'll come up backwards.
So just if your arm's like this, it's a Shem Hashem. If your arm's like this, it's not. What's the difference? It's still a Shem Hashem.
Everyone does. Everyone does.
So what are you saying? I'm not sure what you're saying.
No, it's just a case that happens more frequently than we commonly think about. It's not just tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I hear. I mean, that's you. Stop saying another case.
Right.
Yeah. Nothing crazy.
That's interesting. I hear.
Right.
I hear.
Okay, that's good to know.
I've seen it happen on shirts too, when someone's writing finish the Sefer Torah.
Amazing.
So
Well, you get them.
beginner.
I'm looking at the front page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also get them in the pictures in the paper sometimes in advertisements, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so now we're saying, so you clearly see that Rabbi Yossi holds that tefila b'zmana is a mitzvah. Not we were saying that he holds tefila b'zmana is not a mitzvah. Now from this brisa, it's clear that Rabbi Yossi holds tefila b'zmana is mitzvah. Elo dekuliyam lahani tanayim bina tefila b'zmana mitzvah. No, these tanayim all hold that tefila b'zmana is a mitzvah. You make a hekesh from sprinkling to tevila. So just like tevila b'zman is a mitzvah, so sprinkling b'zman is also a mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi Zohar, we don't make a hekesh from hazah to tevila, and therefore we don't, even though mikvah is done on time, but the sprinkling does not have to be on time. Okay, what about Rabbi Chanina sgan hakohanim? He holds in the middle, right? Rabbi Chanina sgan hakohanim holds that the Efer Parah, the one doing the Efer Parah, he gets third and the seventh. and kohen gadol, gets every day, and the kohen gadol Yom Kippur gets third and the seventh day. So where does he stand on these sugyas? If he holds that you make a hekesh and you compare the sprinkling to the tevilas, and afilu kohen Yom Kippur nami, so he should hold even a kohen on Yom Kippur should go all 7 days. And if he doesn't need the sprinkling to be on time like tevila, afilu kohen as a parah nami listed, and the kohen that burns the parah shouldn't need all 7 days either. So our answer is loy makish. Really, he doesn't make the hekesh for kohen as a parah ma'ila ba'alma, and then the kohen who's the sprinkle every day is just a tamaila, right? So they did it because why not? Sort of like why not sprinkle them every day, right? But the kohen gadol doesn't. We don't need that, right? What do you think? Yeah.
I'm trying to understand. What does Rabbi Yossi come out in the maskana that it since we're not makish azal tevila, therefore you only have to do for the third and seventh day. But if you hold tumah d'chuya b'tzibur, which we're still saying he holds, why would we not be worried that he got tummy in the middle also? How would it help if he got tummy on the third day for the azal of shlishi and shvi? If you're worried about, if you have a tzad to be worried, and that's why Meir Taka holds, you do azal every single day. So then if you got tummy on the third day, your azal and the shlishi and shvi are not good enough. You'd still be tummy when it comes to Yom Kippur. If we're going so bad because of tumah,
no, because I don't think you will, because for sure you had it done. No,
I don't know. Then why do you have to do it every single day according to our mayor?
No, I think that's a lichatchila thing. That's a lichatchila. You want to do it as well as you can.
How would that help you?
What?
Meaning once you start doing azan on the second day, how would that help you?
What do you mean?
Are we worried that he became tummy at any point, or we're worried that are we worried that during the 7 days he became tummy?
Are we worried during the 7 days that he became tummy? During the 7 days? No.
You put him in quarantine. Why would he be worried?
So it's only for the previous days?
Let's wait till Amud Beis to see what the whole cheshbon is, because Gemara asks about the cheshbonis. I don't know if it'll answer your kasha. But let's see. So Gemara says, Kaman Ozla, Had the Tan Rabbanon, Ein ben Kayin asar as a Parah l'Kayin gadol b'Yom Kippurim. There's no difference between the Kayin who burns the Parah aduma and the Kayin who's going to be representing Klal Yisrael Yom Kippur. Ella, now we're on Amud Beis. Ella, shezeh prishasa l'kedusha. One is prisha, is for kedusha. Right, the Kayin gadol for Yom Kippur, his prisha is only for kedusha. Right, meaning that we should separate him for a week, so that he starts putting it in his mind that he's going to be doing the holiest thing of the year on behalf of Klal Yisrael. But his kohanim, his brothers, the kohanim, right, can touch him. Right? That's because why not? It's not nothing to do with tumah and tahara. But the parah aduma, the reason why we're putting him away is for tahara. Right? Why? Because if the Olam remembers that we said that because of the tzedukim, they always made the kohen who's burning the parah aduma tameh on purpose, so that he would still, right? And then he tivels during the day, and then he burns the parah aduma, because the tzedukim held that he have to wait till the night, and we hold not. Right? So because of that, they made him tameh. So they were always worried that they're going to be lax in making sure that this kohen legitimately stays tar, so therefore they made this chumrah. So and his brothers, the kohanim, can't touch him. So now who's this like? Come on, Ira Meir or Rabbi Yossi. It's got to be either Rabbi Meir or Rabbi Yossi. Chanina sgan hakohanim. If it's Chanina sgan hakohanim, ha'ikon ha. This is also a difference. Meaning, we said the only difference between them is one is doing it for tahara and one is doing it for precious. Right, but according to the Chanina sgan hakohanim, there's also a difference. According to him, the kohen that's burning the ephah parah has to do with a sprinkling all 7 days, and the kohen that's just doing for Yom Kippur, he only gets the third and seventh day. Right? And Tosfos asks another question: why isn't it obvious that there's another difference? One of them goes to the Lishkas Parhedrin, right? and one goes to the one to the Pnei Abira, right? That was the first Mishnah in the. The first Mishnah was the Gemara, right? That says they're separated to two different areas. Why isn't that a difference between them? Right? So Taisus answers because that really doesn't have any bearing on anything. It's just a matter of where they're going to be separated. But here we're talking about like what's gonna have a bearing in halacha, right? Okay, so now masculine.
What about the ikuva? 7 days before Yom Kippur is ma'akiv. There it's not.
One is ma'akiv, one is not ma'akiv. Right, that's also taka. That's also.
I mean, I still have an issue. There's generally a ton of a shire on every single Ein Bein Mishnah, Brisa, and Shas. So why here would it be different?
You want to say ton of a shire?
Everywhere it's ton of a shire. Everywhere it's not a kasha, ton of a shire.
Yeah, and a hakohanim. I don't know. Maybe if I become a bucky b'shas and know it cold, I'll have Episa answer for that when it says ton of a shire, when it doesn't. Okay, whatever.
No, I'm saying specifically by the Ein Beins. Every Mishnah of Ein Bein and Megillah is ton of a shire.
Right.
Here the Gemara is asking it again from a Brisa.
Yeah, and a hakohanim. Yep. I hear. Okay, so let's see. Chanina, Bishlam Rishon. Oh, so now here we go with the whole Cheshvan Akiva. Yeah. So Bishlam Rishon. So we sprinkle them on the first day, Shema Shlishi, because maybe it's the third day, right? Meaning, why you sprinkle him on the first day? What's going on this? We say, no, maybe he was Tameh 3 days ago. Tameh made 3 days ago, right? Sheni, and we sprinkle on Sheni, Shema Shlishi, because it's the third. Shlishi, Shema Shlishi. Chamishi, Shema Shvi. Shishi, Shema Shvi. Shvi, Shema Shvi. Right? So all of those days are possible that it's the third and the seventh day. El Revi Lamali Hazok Klal, right? The fourth day of these 7 days that the kohen has to separate, that can't be loy b'shlishi equal l'svuke, loy b'shvi equal l'svuke. It can't be the third day and it can't be the seventh day. Meaning that middle day there cannot be the third or the seventh. So if that's the case, what's the point in sprinkling it? Right? I mean, it's not possible that Wednesday can be third or seventh day. Just it's simple. I mean, it sounds confusing, the math, but really it's fairly straightforward, right? If the day before he goes into solitary, he touched a mace, right? So then the third day is the third day, or the second day is the third day, whichever it is. There's no way that the fourth day is anything, right? So then the Gemara says, according to you, Kol Shiva Mi'ika, is it ever possible to sprinkle all 7 days? Well, Kaimelan, we know, Tazah Shvus, sprinkling somebody with the Mechatas is a Derabanan, right? Because that's like fixing him. And it's not Doiches Shabbos. So they obviously did not sprinkle him on Shabbos either. Shiva Labarmi Shabbos must be that when it said sprinkle him on the seventh day, it meant you're doing it not the seventh day. Sprinkle him for 7 days. It meant 7 days, not without Shabbos. Hakohanim Shiva Lavarmi Revi. It means 7 without the fourth day. So it comes out now that we said you sprinkle him for 7 days. It comes out it's only 5 days, right? Because we're not sprinkling him on Shabbos and we're not sprinkling him on the fourth day. Amarava, 1 second. Hilkoch kohen gadol b'yom kippurim. So kohen gadol yom kippur delay b'didon talia milsa. It's not tali in us when Yom Kippur falls out. It's tali in the setting of the calendar. I mean, we don't decide. I mean, we do decide based on when they see the new moon, but it's the 10th day of the month. It's fixed. So, but tlasa b'tishrei boila frushi. So that means on the third day of Tishrei, we have to separate the kohen gadol. Cholemus the misrami tlasa b'tishrei mefashinalei. And whenever whatever day of the week, the third day of Tishrei falls out, you have to separate him. Parah, but there's no set time to burn the parah for the ashes. You need to get the ashes. Whenever I guess the Bezdin decided, go burn it. So that's when they did it, but there's no specific time. So then the B'didon Talyamil, so that's Tali and us when we're going to tell them to do it. So make sure you always, the first day of the solitary confinement was on a Wednesday. So therefore, his fourth day will always come out on Shabbos, and therefore he's going to end up getting sprinkled 6 days instead of 5 days. You get one more day sprinkling in there, which is interesting because, I mean, if he doesn't need it, he doesn't need it. What was there a specific mitzvah to sprinkle on him every day? Right?
Well, it says 7 days, so I want to get it closest to
Yeah, but
7 days as possible.
You're right. But it only says 7 days because that's what we needed to do. Right? It only says 7 days because that's what was necessary to do.
But it's not even necessary.
What?
But it's not even necessary because
Correct. But we're trying to do it anyways. Do it so that you get a 2-for-1 deal. That the 4th day of the seclusion falls out always on Shabbos like this. You can still sprinkle him. Okay, I can't say I understand. I can't say I understand that.
It comes out l'chayra that the 7 days before Yom Kippur, the kohen gadol only gets 4 times, not 5.
What are you saying?
It should be only 4 times.
Why?
Because 3 and 7 are connected to each other.
Right.
So whichever one he's missing, we're taking away 4, day number 4, and Shabbos, right? So you have 5. Let's say Shabbos is the 6th day. So now, right? So that's which we're chayshish is day number 7. Then 4 days before that should cancel out 2. Because why would you have a day number 3 without a day number 7?
I hear.
You want to do that?
Does that make sense?
Don't ask him if he has
You're not
somebody
gonna have the
from.
3rd day.
If you're knocking out the 3rd day, then knock out the 7th. If you knock out the 7th, knock out the 3rd. Whichever day Shabbos falls on, knock out the alternative, either day number 3 or day number 7 of Hazah. It doesn't do anything without the other one.
I hear. I don't know.
Maybe that's why they said 5 days. Really, in the end.
No, because he's saying it should be 4 days. He's saying it should be 4
No,
days.
it's 7.
That's the thing. The
7
Gemara doesn't
minus
say
2.
5 days. The Gemara doesn't say 5 days. The Gemara says 7 days. The Mishnah says, the Mishnah of the Bryces, they all say 7 days. We're now saying, well, Shabbos, obviously you can't do it. So take away that. That 7 days means without Shabbos.
That's it.
And also without the 4th day.
Right.
So then once you do that, we're now essentially down to 4 days rather than 7.
I don't know. I have to think about the math. I have to think about it. I'm not sure. Okay, let's go weiter. Now we start with a shtickle agada to Gemara for the next blot and a half, 2 blot.
Oh,
So-
so 2 weeks.
No, not 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks. Not a stand. Hard Gemaras we complain about. I got it. The Gemaras we complain about. So
I'm
what
not
we're gonna do?
complaining
I didn't
about
say you. We said we. Yeah. All right. Okay. Lulishkas Parhedrin. So they
Do you see a
separated-
pattern? Do you see a pattern?
I do. It's called males complaining about everything.
No, it's to give you more schar. It's to give us more schar.
Oh, there you go.
Amelus is what counts, right? So the more amelus there is, the more schar. So we complain
Fair
about
enough.
it. We can tell the Mishnah.
Fair
No,
enough.
it's because we're Jewish. That's what we do. That's what we do best. We complain. We did it in the midbar. We do it all the time.
Simon, you're into controversy tonight, Simon.
What's
Yeah.
controversial? Jews complaining? That's the double you do it by Goyim and by Jews.
I hear. Okay. All right. As long as we do what we're supposed to, right? Okay. Anyway, so Lishkas Parhedrin.
Halavai would be able to do so.
You're being mechavan to the next thing too. The Lishkas Parhedrin. So the Lishka of the Parhedrin. Yeah. Tanya. I mean, this next Gemara, some of it is quite sad actually. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda said, "V'chi Lishkas Parhedrin hoisa." Was that called the Lishkas of Parhedrin? Parhedrin literally means, Rashi says, appointed Pekidei HaMelech, as Rashi says. They're appointed by the king. Lishkas Bilavote Haisa. Right? It's the Lishkas of Bilavote, which means the Chashuvim. That's what it was. So why are you calling it Parhedrin? Meaning, why did the name change? Ella Betchila Yukar and Lishkas Bilvoti. Right? They were Bilvuti. It was called Bilvuti because that's where the Chashuva people, the Chashuv people hung out. When we Taisha, nice and love Mammon Kahuna, but then in the second Beis Hamikdash, once they started buying off the kohen gadol, meaning not the buying off, the kohen gadol went to the highest bidder. And obviously they weren't right. And they swapped. They had to swap out kohen gadols every 12 months. Meaning why? Because the kohen gadol wasn't right. and he would die. He
Yeah.
would die, right? When the kohen gadol went into Kodesh Kedoshim.
Yeah.
So if he wasn't roy, he died. So these guys, I'm not exactly sure. These guys must have been good businessmen because they obviously had the money to buy up the kohen gadolship, but they knew they were going to die, unless in their head they thought they really.
The COVID.
No, is it the COVID or is it shot that they thought that they were chashuv and they
a combination.
They had good
There
life
were
insurance
rich. There were
policies
rich
and their wives-
guys. There were rich guys.
they
Life
convinced
insurance.
them, you know.
I hear
The wives
that.
convinced them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What are you saying, Rabar?
I said there were rich guys as him.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
This answers Gershie's
Yeah,
question
people
from
like that
earlier
today.
on. Doesn't this answer Gershie's question from earlier when you said like how could you think like about which base of Migdash was it that we were thinking about whether or not the Kohen Gadol was like having problems and stuff like that from the beginning of the Mitzvah.
Right.
Gershie asked if it was first or second base of Migdash because like how could it right? This kind of
He's
answer.
saying that this is clear that it's the second base of Mikdash.
No, they're
Second,
talking
that
about
was-
the first.
that's
No,
when
the
they
beginning was
brought it
talking
up.
about the first. Now it's talking
Right.
about the second.
I hear.
Not talking about
Okay,
the
yeah, I hear
second,
that.
yeah.
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so anyway,
but why?
So
It says
Yeah.
Rashi says after Shimon Shimon and Tzaddik was kohen gadol, there was a
was a-
decline.
that was in
So
Bayesheni.
wasn't that was by Shani also?
Yeah. And my limited historical knowledge, it was in Bayesheni. Dobi Langer, I don't know, it was your department. It was Bayesheni. It was Bayesheni. Shimon
Shimon
Atzadik.
Tzaddik. Shimon
Yeah.
Tzaddik was by Sheni. He was the last
Right.
Yanshik. That's like
Right. So after he was ousted or whatever it was he nifter or was he?
No, he was Nifter.
He was nifter, so that was it. And then everything, it all broke loose.
And all the Nissim.
It became a disaster. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so Machlivin is a kol shnei masachaydish to Parhedrin halalu, like these Parhedrin, like the kings, right? Shemachlivin is some kol shnei masachaydish. The king appoints new people every 12 months. Lefika hayukarin is a lishkas Parhedrin. So they called it lishkas Parhedrin. So it's actually sounds like a negative that they're calling it lishkas Parhedrin, not a positive. Right? So then, Tanan Hasam. So Gemara says, "Hanachtumen loy chayivu oison chachamim lahafrish ela chumas ma'aser v'chala." Bakers, right? So we had something called demai, which is that some vegetables, whatever that come from an amaretz. So you have to retake it. So you have to retake it off, at least the ma'aser. So, but the chachamim did not make the bakers do this. The only thing they had to do. They had to take off chumas meiser and challah. That's it. So the Gemara asks, "Bishlam truma gadol loy." They didn't have to take off truma gadol. The Tanya. Tomorrow's a long daf, so let's do a little bit here. The Tanya lefi sheshalach bechol gvula Yisrael, because they sent out to all the boundaries of Yisrael, and v'ra shein mafrishan ela truma gadol bavad. They saw that people were taking off truma gadol. So there's no reason for the nachtaim, the baker, once he gets the wheat to make the flour, to take off more truma again, because they did a poll and people were taking off truma gedola. So that's not an issue. Ma'aser rishon and ma'aser ani, ma'aser rishon, which goes to the Levi, and ma'aser ani nami loy. That's also not, because why? And a very interesting thing, because it's a ma'aser mechaver olavaraya, meaning the one who's separating the ma'aser rishon that goes to the Levi and the Ma'aser Ani, that can go to whichever one he wants. So if they want to come to this baker and say, "Hey, you didn't give off Ma'aser Ani, Ma'aser Rishon, and Ma'aser Ani," the baker can tell him, "Yes, I did," and the burden of proof is on you. If you want my Ma'aser Rishon, Ma'aser Ani, come get it, but you have to prove that I didn't give it. So therefore, we can't make them separated either, right? So then the question becomes, okay, so why not Truma too? The kohen could also say, he can tell the kohen, but that's a kasha.
Isn't that an ikaris?
Because
That's tevil.
Truma is nothing. It's Truma you give the three tahas, but there's a three. What's the big
You mean
deal?
right, 140, 150th. Yeah, and a chanam.
No, but it's a Suffolk
No,
creases.
this is Gershon. This is Suffolk. This is from Amaratz.
Right.
This is
So it's Suffolk creases.
what?
Suffolk creases. We're gonna say
No, but we said Truma he doesn't have to take off.
no, because they take off truma.
Right.
Truma's Maisa they don't, because they said there isn't the chazak that take Maisa. So Truma's Maisa is going to be the issue. Truma itself they can't get away with
Well, it's not Okay, I hear what you're saying.
We have to know that we took it.
Right.
The Amar took it.
Yeah, a minute, yeah. Ella, Maisa Sheni, Nifreshu, Nisku, Nechlu, Yerushalayim. But Maisa Sheni, they do have to take off and they go eat in Yerushalayim. Yeah? So Omar Ula, Mitaych, 1 second. So what's the Gemara saying here? Meaning, I'm sorry, it's a question. Ella, Maisa Sheni, Nifreshu, Nisku, Nechlu, Yerushalayim. The Maisa Sheni, they should separate and go eat in Yerushalayim. Why did they not make them take off Maisa Sheni, the bakers? Meaning, what's the law? So they have to take a trip to Yerushalayim and eat it there? What's the big deal? So Marula, no, because these Parhedrin, they were goons, right? Or mafia, whatever it is. And they would beat these guys, the bakers, all 12 months. And they would tell you, keep the prices down, right? So therefore, they couldn't make too much money. So Rabbanan would not matriach them to take off Ma'aseh Sheni. They took it. They had a hard enough time as it is with with these guys beating them up. So Mamela, they took it easy on them. So my Parhedrin, what does the word Parhedrin mean? Parsi. It means Parsi, which Rashi said already on Amud Aleph. He says it here again on Amud Beis. I'm sorry, and he says it here again. Parsi is Pekidei HaMelech, appointed by the kings. Okay. Well, tomorrow we'll get into the whole Agadah about the Churban, etc., etc. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Oh,
yeah. All right. Good to know.
Yeah,
Gershon, you gave me some stuff to think about. Good to know. Yeah.
Yaakov. So
yes, sir.
They had roaming bands of people like holding down prices and checking to see if you had a kilayim and things like that. What was going on back in the day that they felt it necessary to monitor?
Totally out of control. It was totally out of control, but by a shame.
But we see that they kept mitzvahs and stuff. Meaning like it's not that it's not so. Meaning like, understandably, like the most egregious mitzvah obviously was sinas chinam, because that's what destroyed the bayis sheni. But they said that they were maked on keeping the mitzvahs. Now again, you're the definition of makpid and things like that. Okay, I hear, but I mean, it sounds so lawless that the rabbanim and the so on and so forth, they had to have roving bands of mafiosos literally watching what Jews do up north, down south, everywhere.
Could be that's one of the things that created sinas chinam.
I hear that.
But it doesn't sound like that's so much of a sinas chinam. It sounds like that's a sin.
No, I can't take this guy. I can't take that guy. They're goons, and then who's not a goon? Like it leads to. It's like a shirish to once the guy has a negative feeling towards other people, it starts to grow.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just suggesting.
It's it's disturbing. It's more disturbing than hearing about if that's a shootout. Then I'm less disturbed by the destruction of the
hype for 420
than I am of what led up to
like brands are pumping it up.
Yeah, it's tomorrow's daf is not a fun daf, Simon, because of all this. It's really not. It's not. Whatever.
I'm just curious. Besides, I mean, before we get to tomorrow's daf, I was just thinking tonight. Albeit that I've been taught for years that the Khan Gadolim after Shimon Tzadik were Rishoyim and the people were Rishoyim, whatever, they were bad people. I'm just curious if you can see it from another perspective. I mean, we have people that would do similar things today, that donate all their money so their kids won't have a machlokes in the Yerusha. So they donate everything to become the kohen gadol, and they feel like they're doing a mitzvah. They know they're not tzaddikim gemurim, but they're dying on Kiddush Hashem in their minds.
So what are you saying?
And with this also, the chayvtim, they also thought they were doing a mitzvah, keeping the prices down.
What Gershon is saying is we need to learn Tanakh better.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
That and I mean, maybe Taka, we shouldn't judge them as Rishon and Gemura. I don't know. Did they do the wrong thing? Yeah, but it could be they did it lishma in their minds.
Right.
Think of like some cipher says by on the Seches Avos. Right, the Mishnah says Ezel what's it called? Machlokes Shem Shemayim Kehil v'Shamay. Machlokes Shalei Shem Shemayim is Kairach Mechal Adasai. So some cipher asks, it's not convenient. It should have said Machlokes Moshe v'Kairach, not Kairach Mechal Adasai. He answers that Kairach, in his mind at least, he himself was a shtickle lishma against Moshe. But the Adasai, the Eda, Adas Kairach had nothing in it. They weren't doing anything. So their machlokes with Kairach was Shalei lishma. Or really, their agreement with Kairach was a machlokes Shalei lishma.
Right. I hear. I don't know. It's very hard to push a shot on all these things. Is say you get onto Bertluch, you get to Bertluch, this, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know, I'm disturbed. I'm very disturbed by the buildup.
It is. It's a very difficult thing to understand.
Is it though? I mean, look at what we're living through now. And again, not like for like, but I mean, we see like the most insane things. It's not hard to understand how people descend into chaos almost immediately. But this is. I mean, at this point, what was the point of having the base of Mikdash at that point? Just to go through the motions? We weren't fulfilling any mitzvahs at that point.
A lot of those kind of gadolim could also have thought the same way as you're saying now. I mean, they could have thought, look, we don't have an Aron Kodesh to start with. We have a rock. So, okay, so we'll be a kohen gadol. Maybe it'll be better.
Simon, I disagree with you.
I don't know.
We had the miracle of Hanukkah. There obviously was a purpose to having the
we have miracles Ada Yom Hazeh.
I understand, but obviously the miracle of Hanukkah was significant enough that we celebrate to this day. Without the second base of Mikdash, we wouldn't have had the miracle of Hanukkah. I mean, there was moments throughout the second.
I mean, you're right, but again, that was a determination of the Rabbanim and the Tzaddikim and the so on and so forth.
But nonetheless, who cares? It's a small group, whatever.
Who says, I got a book out, but you continue. Continue.
But Akiva, who says it couldn't have happened after they closed up the canonization and things like that?
What does that mean? The whole miracle of Hanukkah was about the base of Mikdash.
We have a whole thing. Okay, so what? What's that got to do with anything?
You want to know why it existed and it's whatever form it existed. It seemed like it was diminished, but yes, it was diminished. But there were still obviously moments where Klal Yisrael was on a level where they were zeichet as such a miracle that impacted Klal Yisrael Ad Yom Hazeh.
Yeah, but again, who's to say that it couldn't? Something like that didn't happen post closing up of the canonization and the creation of Chanukah and Purim.
It didn't. We don't have another miracle like that since then, which we celebrate on that level.
I mean, one could argue certain things that happened in the 19th century, but okay.
But we don't celebrate it on the same level.
I'm not saying we do. Though it became a very political thing. That's not that's not the point. The point is that one could argue, and I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying one could argue that the creation of Israel. One could argue. I'm not saying.
I hear you, but let me ask you a question. Was it accepted in all Klal Yisrael, like the miracle of Hanukkah? Even if she's right, was it accepted amongst all Klal Yisrael?
You see the story. You see the stories of the Chavetz Chaim by the Balfour Declarations, and you see all the stuff.
Nonetheless, did not spread throughout Klal Yisrael the same way as the Hanukkah miracle. So much so that Hanukkah is even celebrating by the Nafram.
I'm not. Again, you're also talking. You're talking several things. One, it wasn't celebrated. It wasn't celebrated across Yiddishkeit like we think it was. It was celebrated across the Perush and the Pharisees. It was not celebrated by anyone else.
It's considered. I'm saying,
it's
considered a Yom Tov.
But in that regard, Akiva, Yom Ha'atzmaut is celebrated by almost.
You're arguing something else, but my point is
I'm
that the
not.
miracle of Hanukkah is looked at as something that
We look
it's
at
a
it. We
seminal
look at
moment
it.
in Klal Yisrael.
Akiva.
Seminal moment in Klal Yisrael that we've accepted as a seminal moment. Everyone across the board.
I'm saying what I'm saying again. I only use 1948 as an example in this case. Just the one that's sticking in my head the most at 10 o'clock at night. But what I'm saying is, we like to look back in the past as if the past were the penultimate.
I disagree. The whole reason why we have Hanukkah is for the moment now. That's why we have every Yom Tov.
I'm not. Yeah,
Yom Tov is not a celebration of the past.
Generation. Go forward 3 generations. Did they care as much then?
I have no idea. I didn't live then. But my point is that we know Yom Tov is not something about the past. It's about the present.
Although one could argue Hanukkah is not like that.
Hanukkah is like that. It's about the tahara. The tahara is everlasting. It's also about the tahara.
Yeah, that's added. The mitzvah of Hanukkah is Pesumei Nisan.
I understand, but the menorah represented Torah, and that's a big inyan on Hanukkah. We don't just celebrate Hanukkah for the lighting of the menorah.
That's an inyan. The mitzvah of Hanukkah is Pesumei Nisan. The mitzvah of Yom Tov is
we're not
today.
arguing. Exactly. We don't have the menorah just to remember the past. We don't have Hanukkah just to remember the past. We don't have any Yom Tov to remember. What's the point of that?
Technically, I guess part of you is right, but part of you is wrong, because even though they reestablished all the things, it did not mean the base of Mikdash was working at that time.
That's not what I said. What I said was that the whole second bias is to die for the miracle of Hanukkah. That's what I think. At least I can't speak to every other period of time during
the whole second bias is what? Can you repeat that?
I said the whole bias sheni was Kedai. First of all, it was Kedai for Shimon Atzat. But
Kedai, yeah,
Kedai. But there are other parts of it. Was during the Chashmonaim's times. It wasn't the worst of times. Even though they weren't supposed to be the Melucha, they led. Not every single part of their history was terrible.
Some of it was.
Some of it was terrible. Agreed. I said, but not every part of it was. So there were parts of the bias sheni that
you're only talking a little over 100-year span of the Chashmonaim's rule.
Right. So that's a lot of time.
It's not a lot of time.
How long did the base? Why not? How long did the base of Mikdash last?
I guess you know what? I'll recant that statement. I'll recant that statement. I mean, I'm thinking about it from now to then, but you're right. You're right. I'm not going to disagree, but I know.
I'm not saying everything was perfect, but you know what? Not everything was perfect during the bias Rishon. I'm saying look at most of the Melucha that reigned over Klal Yisrael during bias Rishon. They were terrible people, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you can, if you want, you can start making that argument about the bias Rishon, but I don't think I just don't look at it that way.
Right here.
Anyways, got to run.
Alrighty. Good night.
Take care.